If your confession says abundance while your habits keep producing disorder, which voice is your life actually obeying? You may declare that God supplies every need, yet refuse to look at the bills. You may speak increase in public, yet spend impulsively in private. You may announce financial victory, yet neglect obligations, avoid planning, chase dishonest shortcuts, and call every warning negative thinking. That contradiction ends today. This is not an attack on confession. It is a rescue of confession from superstition. Confession was never given to help you hide from reality. It was given to bring your heart, your words, and your conduct into agreement with truth. Do you see it? Your mouth can speak faith while your habits testify against it. And when speech and conduct travel in opposite directions, louder declarations will not produce alignment. You cannot confess order and continually practice confusion. You cannot confess provision and refuse diligence. You cannot confess freedom while appetite commands every purchase. Why? Because faith-filled words cannot do the work assigned to wisdom. Confession can renew your expectation, but it cannot prepare a plan for you. Confession can break fear's hold over your thinking, but it cannot keep a promise you have neglected. Confession can strengthen you to act, but it cannot replace honest work, disciplined restraint, generous purpose, or faithful stewardship. Your words are not substitutes for responsibility. They are meant to summon you into it. Money does not become your servant merely because you shout at it. It becomes a servant when it receives wise direction. And before your resources can come under direction, the person directing them must come under truth. So, do not receive this as condemnation. Receive it as an invitation to alignment. You are not trapped in yesterday's habits. You can face what you avoided. You can bring order where confusion has lived. You can learn what you were never taught. You can unite believing, speaking, planning, working, giving, and choosing. We are going to expose the hidden governor behind your financial decisions. Then we will replace empty declaration with confession that produces courage, clarity, and conduct. But before we correct your financial habits, we must define what biblical confession actually is and what it was never meant to become. Biblical confession is not bold speech searching for something to control. It is inward agreement, finding an outward voice. The word is first received in the heart and then expressed through the mouth. Do you see the order? Truth enters, understanding grows, conviction forms, then confession speaks. The mouth is not trying to invent a reality. It is giving voice to a truth the heart has accepted. Without that inward foundation, repetition becomes religious noise. A person can say, "God is my provider," 100 times while inwardly trusting money as the source. A person can speak of abundance while believing that one employer, one customer, or one opportunity holds the power of life and death over the future. But God is the source. Employment is a channel. Business is a channel. An idea is a channel. An opportunity is a channel. Channels may change, close, or multiply, but faith does not confuse the channel with the source. This is why confession matters. It trains you to keep your confidence in the right place. But confession does not give money a mind, a will, or a spiritual obligation to obey whatever sentence you choose. Currency is not standing before you waiting to be conquered by volume. Money is a tool. Wisdom must direct it. 3 counterfeits must end. First, stop declaring personal desires as though God promised every outcome you can imagine. Desire may be sincere without being covenant truth. Second, stop calling denial faith. An unpaid obligation does not disappear because you refuse to examine it. A pattern of waste does not become wisdom because you cover it with spiritual language. Third, stop using confession to postpone obedience. If a decision must be made, make it. If counsel is needed, seek it. If work must be completed, complete it. If an honest conversation is overdue, have it. Holding fast does not mean pretending pressure is absent. It means refusing to let pressure become your final interpreter. You can examine the account without enthroning it. You can acknowledge the need without making fear your advisor. You can face the facts while remaining persuaded that wisdom, courage, and provision are available. Here is the test. Mature confession produces corresponding conduct. If you confess that God gives wisdom, seek wisdom and act upon it. If you confess provision, Become faithful with what is already in your hands. If you confess freedom, stop obeying fear. Say this: my confession is not an escape from responsibility. It is my agreement with truth, and I will act in harmony with what I speak. Now we go deeper. If confession does not mechanically control money, its immediate power must operate somewhere else within the person who is speaking. Your heart is the hidden governor of your financial life. Before money moves through your hands, expectation has already begun giving instructions. What you repeatedly consider shapes what you expect. What you expect influences what you notice. What you notice affects what you choose, and what you choose day after day accumulates into consequences. Do you see the chain? Attention, expectation, perception, decision, result. This is why two people can face the same limited opportunity and respond differently. One sees only danger and withdraws. Another sees only profit and rushes forward. A third pauses, seeks wisdom, counts the cost, and acts with purpose. The first may be governed by scarcity. Scarcity does more than say, there is not enough. It trains the eyes to expect loss everywhere. It may cause you to avoid opening statements, reject useful opportunities, hoard without purpose, or cling to what should be released. The second may be governed by greed. Greed does more than desire money. It teaches you to chase appearances, force quick results, ignore warning signs, and measure your worth by what others can see. Fear says, never move. Greed says, move without wisdom. But the renewed steward says, I will not be paralyzed, and I will not be reckless. I will learn. I will plan. I will work. I will give. I will wait when wisdom says wait, and I will act when responsibility calls. That is where confession performs its immediate work. It brings your attention back beneath truth. It interrupts the private rehearsal of failure. It reminds you that circumstances may be loud without being supreme. It does not move coins by invisible force. It trains the person who must handle them. Think of confession as a compass. A compass establishes direction, but it does not walk the road. Your choices are the footsteps. You can stare at the compass and shout north all day, but if your feet continually travel south, you are not moving toward the destination. Now examine the footsteps. What does your calendar reveal about your diligence? What does your spending reveal about your priorities? What do your unfinished tasks reveal about your discipline? What do your promises reveal about your integrity? What happens inside you when a bill arrives, an opportunity closes, or someone else prospers? Your private reaction often identifies your true governor before your public confession does. Words matter because they can redirect attention and strengthen agreement with truth, but changed results ordinarily travel through changed perception, changed decisions, and consistent conduct. Say this: fear will not govern me, greed will not govern me, truth will govern my heart, and wisdom will direct my steps. And a renewed inner governor does not fear the facts. It brings every fact into the light so wisdom can answer it. Some believers are afraid to open the ledger because they believe naming the problem will give it power. They imagine that speaking the amount of a debt, admitting a shortage, or acknowledging waste is the same as confessing defeat. Today, that confusion ends. Recognition is not surrender. A fact can describe your present condition without defining your identity, determining your morality, or dictating your future. You can say, this obligation exists, without saying, this obligation owns me. You can admit, my current income does not cover this pattern, without declaring, there will never be enough. Faith does not require darkness. Faith brings truth into the light. Why? Because disorder grows where it is not examined. A small, recurring charge becomes a steady leak. An unanswered notice becomes a larger obligation. An avoided conversation becomes broken trust. An unmade decision continues making decisions for you. You have been allowing what you refuse to measure to govern you. Now you will measure it so wisdom can govern it. Sit down and count the cost. Identify what comes in. Identify what must go out. List every obligation, every debt, every recurring expense, and every promise you have made. Then identify what is already available: money, time, possessions, abilities, relationships, experience, and opportunities to create value. Finally, Name the immediate risks that require attention. Do not exaggerate. Do not deny. Fear says, everything is ruined. Pride says, nothing is wrong. Wisdom says, this is the present condition, and now we will answer it truthfully. The person preparing to build does not prove faith by refusing to calculate. Counting the cost is not unbelief. It is how intention becomes order. A builder who will not measure does not have greater faith. He has greater exposure to unfinished work. As you conduct this review, do not rehearse shame. Pair every fact with mature agreement. Say this aloud. God is my source. Wisdom is available to me. Fear will not govern this review. I will give direction to every resource entrusted to me. I will correct what must be corrected, honor what must be honored, and learn what I need to learn. That is not negative confession. That is courage under truth. You do not open the ledger to worship the numbers. You open it to remove secrecy, end confusion, and place every fact where wisdom can answer it. The figures may reveal pressure, but they can also reveal the next responsible step. And once the ledger is open, the decisive question changes. It is no longer merely how much is present. It becomes how faithfully is the present amount being governed. More money does not automatically create more freedom. It does not automatically create peace, generosity, stability, or purpose. Increase cannot heal a governing pattern that remains unchanged. It usually gives that pattern a larger field in which to operate. If fear governs a little, fear may govern much. Now there is more to protect, more to compare, and more to lose. If greed governs a little, greed may consume much. The appetite grows with the supply. But when wisdom governs a little, wisdom is being prepared to direct much. This is why faithfulness with what is small matters. Your present resources are not an embarrassing delay before your real financial life begins. This is your financial life. What is in your hand today is training material for the steward you are becoming. Stewardship means knowing what has been entrusted to you. It means assigning purpose before impulse makes the assignment. It means honoring obligations, protecting what must be preserved, developing what can become productive, and releasing what should serve another person. Stewardship asks, what is this for? Greed asks, how much can I consume? Fear asks, how tightly can I hold? Wisdom asks, how faithfully can I direct? Picture a vessel placed beneath flowing water. Desire may cry for a greater stream, but if the vessel is cracked, unclean, or too weak to carry the weight, more water produces more waste. The answer is not to despise the water. The answer is to strengthen the vessel. You are that vessel. Your character is capacity. Your discipline is capacity. Your knowledge is capacity. Your ability to plan, wait, decide, give, and keep your word is capacity. Now ask yourself an honest question. If your income doubled tomorrow, would purpose become stronger, or would your present habits merely move faster? Would obligations be honored, generosity expand, and wise preparation begin? Or would comparison, appetite, and confusion simply acquire a larger budget? Do not answer with what you intend to become after increase arrives. Answer with what your present conduct is already proving. Abundance is not chiefly permission to consume more. It is responsibility, the ability to carry resources without allowing resources to corrupt identity, silence, conscience, or command desire. Greater provision is not proof that one believer is spiritually superior to another. It is a greater stewardship, and stewardship always asks what will flow through your hands, not merely what will remain in them. Faithful management is not a punishment you endure until blessing begins. Faithful management is part of the blessing. It frees you from confusion. It breaks the rule of impulse. It teaches money to serve purpose rather than forcing your life to serve money. Say this, I will not postpone faithfulness. I am becoming capable, disciplined, and trustworthy with what is in my hands now. And stewardship becomes visible when every unit of money receives an assignment before appetite, pressure, or comparison assigns it instead. Money without direction rarely remains neutral. If wisdom does not assign it, appetite will, pressure will, convenience will, comparison will. Order is faith applied to what has entered your hands. You do not need one universal formula that pretends every household has the same responsibilities. You need clear assignments governed by sound priorities. First, provide for present needs. Food, shelter, necessary care, transportation, and the responsibilities that sustain daily life must be faced honestly. Second, honor binding obligations. A promise does not become less important because a more exciting purchase appears. Integrity gives commitments their proper place. Third, prepare prudent reserves. Unexpected costs are not evidence that faith has failed. Preparation gives you room to respond without panic. Fourth, develop productive capacity. Some resources should strengthen the skills, tools, knowledge, or work that can create future value. Fifth, practice generosity. Money must not become a closed circle that begins and ends with you. Finally, direct resources toward purposes that reflect your deepest commitments and the work you believe you are called to fulfill. Do you see it? Planning is not fear of tomorrow. Planning is counting the cost so that what is begun can be completed. Fear imagines disaster and freezes. Wisdom considers what may be required and prepares. But a plan will expose your appetite. You may feel an urgent desire and call it a need. You may see an impressive purchase and call it an investment. You may want to appear prosperous before you have built stability. Today, that deception ends. A need serves life and responsibility. An urgent feeling demands immediate relief. A useful investment strengthens capacity or fulfills a defined purpose. An impressive purchase often strengthens only an image. Patient preparation keeps resources ready for an assignment. Anxious withholding stores without purpose and slowly turns possession into a refuge. Even saving must have a governor. Saving can express foresight when it has a clear purpose. It becomes scarcity when accumulation replaces trust, generosity, and obedience. Your reserve is a servant. It is not your source. Review the plan regularly. Income changes. Responsibilities change. Opportunities appear. Emergencies interrupt. A wise plan can adjust without abandoning its values. Flexibility is not disorder when purpose remains in command. Now make this practical. Before your next discretionary purchase, stop. Do not let the feeling decide before wisdom speaks. Name the money's present assignment. Ask, does this purchase serve that purpose, or does it steal from it? Then obey the answer. Say this, my money will not be governed by appetite, pressure, or comparison. I will give every resource a purpose, and I will direct it with wisdom. That is how money becomes a servant, not through shouting, but through assignment. Yet no plan can distribute resources that are never cultivated. Faith must also shape the way value is created through work. Faith does not sit idle while responsibility passes by. It does not neglect available work and then call passivity expectancy. It does not refuse preparation while waiting for unexplained increase. Today, that picture ends. Faith does not eliminate responsibility. Faith releases you from fear so you can embrace responsibility with courage. It gives you confidence to begin, patience to learn, humility to improve, and strength to continue when immediate results do not appear. Look at Joseph. When a nation faced crisis, he did not offer desire without direction. He carried wisdom. He understood the problem, formed a strategy, and gave leadership something useful. Value preceded influence. Resources followed a solution. Do you see it? Joseph did not become useful because he was chasing wealth. He became influential because wisdom enabled him to serve in a moment of need. You may be praying for something to enter your hands while ignoring what has already been placed within you. What abilities have you neglected? What experience have you dismissed because it seemed ordinary? What creative idea have you postponed? What relationship should be strengthened? What weakness is showing you where training is needed? What recurring problem around you could become an opportunity to serve? The deposit may be present, but it must be developed. Diligence is not always dramatic. It looks like learning when no one is applauding, practicing after enthusiasm fades, finishing what you began, answering clearly, arriving when you promised, correcting poor work, improving the service you offer. These ordinary acts create a reputation that words alone cannot manufacture. But beware of haste wearing the clothing of faith. Not every urgent opportunity is provision. Not every promise of rapid increase is wisdom. Speculative shortcuts, pressure-driven decisions, and effortless profit claims often speak directly to an appetite that does not want to learn, wait, or work. Faith is courageous, but it is not careless. Faith can move quickly when wisdom is clear, but it does not let desperation silence discernment. Your confession must reach your work. To speak confidence while refusing training is contradiction. To declare that wisdom is available while rejecting correction is contradiction. But when you confess courage and make the call, confess diligence and finish the task, confess wisdom and acquire the skill, your speech and conduct are moving together. Choose one thing now, one skill to strengthen, one unfinished task to complete, one useful service to improve. Give it time today. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Take the next responsible step. Say this: I am not waiting passively for provision. I will learn, work, solve, serve, and develop what has been entrusted to me. Work and skill are not competitors to divine provision. They are channels of stewardship. But value without character can enrich the hand while impoverishing the person. So financial wisdom must next be tested by generosity and integrity. A prosperous hand must become both open and clean, open enough to release, clean enough to refuse what integrity cannot receive. Generosity declares that possessions are tools, not identity. It says, money is not my master. Accumulation is not my security. What has entered my hands can be directed toward another person's good. But generosity must remain under wisdom. Wise giving is not reckless depletion. It is not surrender to emotional pressure. It is not a payment offered to purchase divine favor. Giving is purposeful release, governed by love, trust, and responsibility. When Jesus observed the widow's small offering, the public size of the gift was not the central issue. The inward posture mattered. Others could release from excess while she released from trust. That moment warns us not to measure generosity merely by the visible amount. Yet the open hand must also be a clean hand. You cannot neglect a truthful obligation and then use visible giving to create the appearance of faithfulness. You cannot exploit a creditor, underpay someone who served you, hide disorder from your household, or break a promise while presenting yourself as generous elsewhere. Why? Because generosity and integrity are not enemies. They are two expressions of the same governed spirit. Integrity tells the truth in agreements. Integrity represents costs and benefits accurately. Integrity deals fairly when no one is watching. Integrity fulfills commitments. And when circumstances change, integrity communicates promptly instead of disappearing behind silence and excuses. A clean hand refuses gain obtained through deception. An open hand refuses captivity to accumulation. One protects you from corrupt increase. The other protects you from becoming possessed by what you possess. Now examine your giving. Is it worship or image management? Is it genuine purpose or fear of disappointing someone? Is it love or compulsion? Are you giving because your heart is free or because you expect the gift to force a result? Today, choose 2 acts. Complete one quiet act of generosity that does not strengthen your public image. Then complete one neglected act of financial honesty. Tell the truth, correct the agreement, pay what can be paid, communicate about what cannot yet be paid. Do not perform one while avoiding the other. Say this: my hand will be open without being reckless, and clean without compromise. Money will pass through my life under the government of love, wisdom, and truth. Financial freedom is not merely having more. It is remaining truthful and generous with whatever passes through your hands. Now, confession, planning, work, generosity, and integrity have been joined together. But 2 final distortions must still be confronted: guaranteed wealth and hopeless scarcity. 2 financial distortions stand on opposite sides of the road, but both lead to bondage. The first is materialistic certainty. It treats every personal desire as though it were a divine promise. It assumes that if you speak boldly enough, wealth must arrive on your preferred schedule. If increase is delayed, someone must be blamed. Your faith was weak, your words were wrong, or you failed to discover the correct formula. Today, that distortion ends. Confession is not leverage placed upon God. Wealth is not proof of spiritual superiority, and disappointment is not evidence that you have been rejected. When prosperity is reduced to a guaranteed level of possessions, money becomes the judge of faith, and shame enters wherever circumstances do not match the promise someone invented. The second distortion is fear-based scarcity. It whispers, "There will never be enough." It resists generosity, avoids every measured risk, and treats one closed door as the death of all possibility. It may call itself prudence, but underneath the careful language, fear is still issuing commands. Do you see the hidden agreement? Materialistic certainty worships money's arrival. Scarcity fears money's absence. One says, "If money comes, I am victorious." The other says, "If money leaves, I am destroyed." Both make money supreme. Faith takes a different position. You can pursue provision without greed. You can practice prudence without anxiety. You can receive increase without pride. You can endure a lean season without surrendering your identity, your integrity, or your willingness to give. Faithful people can face setbacks. Opportunities can be delayed. Plans can fail. Losses can require painful adjustment. Confession is not a guarantee that hardship will never enter your financial life. It is the refusal to let hardship become your master or corruption become your escape. Faith can govern your allegiance. Faith can govern your expectation. Faith can strengthen courage, obedience, perseverance, generosity, and honest work. Faith can keep you from choosing deception when pressure promises a shortcut. That is resilient financial faith. Prosperity is not a number chosen to prove that you have arrived. It is provision joined to purpose. It is freedom from money's mastery. It is growing capacity to meet responsibilities, create value, remain generous, and bless others without losing yourself to either abundance or lack. Say this: "I will not worship increase, and I will not fear insufficiency. Money will not define me. Truth will govern me. Wisdom will direct me, and integrity will preserve me." Now, this teaching must become a daily operating practice in which every declaration is deliberately connected to a corresponding decision. Now we turn revelation into a daily operating practice. 5 movements will bring your confession and conduct into agreement. Receive truth, speak agreement, review reality, choose obedience, and measure fruit. First, receive truth. Before pressure begins giving orders, establish the governing truth. God is your source. Wisdom is available. Money is a tool. Faithfulness is today's assignment. Give these truths deliberate attention until fear is no longer the only voice interpreting your financial life. Second, speak agreement. Say this: "I am not governed by fear. I am willing to learn. I will steward honestly. I will work diligently. I will give purposefully. I will face every obligation with courage and truth." Do not speak carelessly. Understand what you are saying. Each sentence is an allegiance and a command to your own conduct. Third, review reality. Examine the day before the day carries you away. What spending is likely? What commitments must be honored? What work deserves focused attention? What pressure may tempt you into haste? What decision is approaching? What opportunity should be examined? Do this without denial and without condemnation. Denial hides the facts. Condemnation turns the facts into identity. Wisdom simply places the facts where they can be answered. Fourth, choose obedience. This is where confession becomes visible. Connect every declaration to one concrete act. If you confess order, make the plan. If you confess restraint, cancel the waste. If you confess integrity, communicate about the obligation. If you confess diligence, complete the work. If you confess wisdom, seek counsel. If you confess growth, learn the skill. If you confess stewardship, save with purpose or give with discernment. Ask this question every day: what action would make today's confession visible before the day ends? Why? Because words establish direction, but obedience takes the step. Fifth, measure fruit. Once each week, review whether your speech and conduct are coming into agreement. Do not demand instant wealth as proof that the practice works. Look for growing order. Look for cleaner agreements. Look for reduced waste, greater courage, deeper skill, purposeful generosity, stronger capacity, and increasing peace. If the plan failed, adjust it. If you overspent, correct the next decision. If you avoided a conversation, schedule it. Correction is not spiritual defeat. Correction is evidence that you remain teachable. And remember, this protocol is not a ritual for forcing money to appear. It is training. It keeps truth in the governing place, while wisdom directs your actions. It transforms confession from an escape into an instrument of alignment. Here is the whole movement. Truth governs the heart. The mouth confirms truth. Wisdom assigns resources. Diligence creates value. Integrity protects purpose. Generosity keeps money from becoming master. Say it again. My words and my conduct are coming into agreement. I will receive truth, speak truth, face reality, choose obedience, and measure fruit. The final decision is no longer whether you believe in abundance. The decision is whether that belief will receive a voice, a schedule, an assignment, and a visible act today. For the next 7 days, refuse passive agreement. Every time you make a financial confession, connect it to one act of wisdom. Do not merely say it, make it visible. Say this aloud. God is my source. Money is my servant, not my master. Fear will not govern me. Wisdom will direct me. My work will be diligent. My promises will be honored. My giving will be purposeful. My words and my conduct will agree. Now act before this day ends. Open the ledger you have avoided. Assign the next money that enters your hands. Address one neglected obligation. Complete one task that creates value. Choose one and finish it. Then write this public commitment. My faith and my stewardship agree. Do not announce guaranteed wealth. Announce governed conduct. You are no longer a victim waiting for money to obey your words. You are a faithful steward, bringing your heart, your speech, your decisions, and your resources under truth. You plan, you work, you choose, you give, you correct, you walk wisely. If this message has awakened that decision in you, share it with someone who needs freedom from empty financial declarations, and subscribe for more teaching that joins faith with responsible action. Financial confession has found its proper power when it renews the person who must handle the money. Let truth govern your heart. Let your mouth confirm it. Let wisdom direct your hands. And from this day forward, let your confession and your conduct speak with one voice.